What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Understanding the Reason. I'm your host, Jerome Majette. Man, I'm excited that you guys are here. We've been getting into some really good stuff in pursuit of understanding why God, who is a spirit, created physical, temporary matter. Like, why did he create us? Why did he put us on planet Earth? Why did he create the stars and the universe and all that, right? So we've been talking about the days of creation. And we started off in our last video on day 3, and we were talking about the incorruptible seed and the reason for the seed principle. And we're going to pick that up. But before we do, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you do take us up on our offer to pick up our book, the links are down in the description for books and for our merchandise. If you do decide to do that, please send us a selfie over on my Facebook Messenger page, and I will shout you out at the end of one of our videos. And we're going to do that today. If you don't mind, please stick around until the end of the video and help us celebrate and share our love to somebody who has sent us a selfie. Okay, now let's get into it, man. So we've been talking about the seed principle. I'm pumped on this because there's a lot of scientific data that actually backs up what the scripture has shown us. And we're going to look at, and I'm going to pull over here and look at our base scripture, which is found in Genesis chapter 1, verses 11 through 13. And this is what it says, okay? And God said, let the earth put forth tender vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees yielding fruit, whose seed is in itself, each according to its own kind on the earth. And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed according to their own kinds, and trees bearing fruit in which was their seed, each according to its own kind. And God saw that it was good, and he approved it. And there was evening, and there was morning, a third day. Now, the one thing that we talked about is that the seed principle is really at the very simplest level is how God was able to provide food for us, because he knew he was going to create man. He knew he was going to create us. He knew he was going to bring us here, and he knew that we had to eat. Okay, he knew I like to eat, so he made sure that we had food to survive on the planet. Okay, so we talked about that. Now here's the one thing that we also left off on in our last video, and if you haven't seen that, please go check it out. The incorruptible seed, which in the reason we tapped on it just a little bit, the reason for the seed principle. So if we understand that God had an enemy that he had to destroy. Now we know that Satan, based on everything that we talked about in our previous videos, how Satan was the initiator of a war that was caused in heaven. And God told him this. Now let's look at that. I want to share that with you guys. So this is what Satan's this is what we went over, right? And in my book, under the section, The Vanity of Iniquity, this is what I wrote. Blameless, the perfection of wisdom and beauty, adorned with every precious stone set in the finest gold, created to give extraordinary praise and worship to the Most High. These were attributes of a once exalted cherub or special class of angelic being, distinguished with the title of Lucifer, son of the morning. What happened to him? What motivated him to corrupt his heart to believe he should rule heaven above the Creator? This is what he said. Let's listen to this. If you got your notes, get your notes down, man. You're going to have to write the scripture down. Isaiah chapter 14, verses 13 and 14. And this passage is known as the 5 I wills. Now check this out. This is what Satan said in his heart. I will ascend to heaven. I will set my throne above God's stars. I will preside on the mountain of the gods far away in the north. I will climb to the highest heavens, and I will be like the Most High. But see, here's God's response. And his response is found in Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 11 through 19. Now listen to what God told him. God told him, he said, I will destroy you. I will cast you to the ground. I will lay you before kings, and I will bring fire from inside of you to consume you. I will bring you to ashes, and you will be no more. So how is he going to be able to do that? Well, we understand that the moment that Satan was kicked out of heaven, the shout went forward that announced the plan of salvation. This is so very important because in our last video, we left off with how the incorruptible seed on the third day was going to come into the world for the sole purpose of destroying, doing exactly what we just read, and you will be no more. So let's read a little bit on this topic. So an amazing fact is that on the third day of creation, God did not introduce the seed principle simply to govern the production of temporal life alone. His intention goes much deeper than that, right? Congruently, on a distant third day at an appointed time in history, he intended to resurrect the incorruptible seed, the Messiah, and from him glean a harvest of souls. He would indeed produce the ultimate harvest, you and me, and untold millions with us. This was and is the overall objective of God's plan for humanity the world over. The world over. According to the following words recorded as spoken by the Lord himself, and now write the scripture down. This is found in John, the book of John, chapter 12, verse 24. This is what Jesus said. I tell you the truth. Unless a kernel of wheat is planted in the soil and dies, it remains alone. But its death will produce many new kernels, a plentiful harvest of new lives. So the intention wasn't just to provide food for us, right? We know that that's what he did, but also to provide this incorruptible seed that would destroy Satan, that would destroy the devil. Oh man, we're gonna get into this so good. This is probably my favorite part. This is the best part for me, okay? So let's keep reading. This passage tells me the principles on which the world is founded are not based on religious theologies, tenets, traditions, or ideologies. The law that governs the production and reproduction of seed is an absolute law, right? So God introduced this law. And in fact, he set the whole entire universe up on laws, principles, precepts, and tenets, right? So the law that governs all matter, that the law that governs reciprocals, right, is the law of reciprocity. We talked about that before. If you have a right hand, you have a left hand. If you have up, you have down, right? We went over that. So here's the beautiful part about it. Under that law is the seed principle. The seed principle is what allows for the incorruptible seed to come into the physical world. That is so important for us to capture, right? So important for us to capture. Let's keep going. As with any absolute, it could, should, and must be consistently capable of withstanding verification on every level. So we should be able to see these things actually in practice, right? In our everyday life. Well, let's talk about this. So if I plant an apple seed and I give it the right moisture and I cultivate it the right way, it gets the right sunlight and all that good stuff, what's going to happen? It's going to produce a tree. The tree is going to produce the fruit, and the fruit will have what? Seeds in them. For what? To produce more apple trees. Right? Now, if you think about it from the standpoint of we live in a temporal environment, in order for species to continue through time, they have to have the ability to pass along their genetic material to actually further and propagate their kind. So we talked about that too, right? Now, here's something that's really important. We're going to start this, but there's going to be a part 2 to this, man, for sure, because this right here is so very, very important. The law of reciprocity mandates that life continue through the precept of seed time and harvest, as long as the earth remains, right? So the precept, seed time and harvest, is the time associated with the seed production of the end result. So in other words, if a woman is impregnated by the seed of the man over a period of time, the result is us, right? So we're going to pick this up on our next video. Man, I'm so excited that you guys came. Please pick up our book, Understanding the Reason God Made Man, What Made Him Do It, and get your shirt and send me a selfie. Also, don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Stick around. Help us celebrate and show some love to the next person who, show love to us, okay? Please do that, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. God bless you. You have an awesome week. Peace.